Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakahakwadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'm going to start it off in 2nd Esdras chapter 9 in the Apocrypha, verse 1. He answered me then and said, "Measure thou the time diligently in itself," which is exactly what the true men of the Lord, the prophets of the Most High, chiefly through GMS or Great Millstone, are doing by reading the scriptures and watching the news, and then filtering the news through the scriptures to go out onto the highways and byways to preach this word, as well as put up video epistles like this. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made, Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai, visiting this world and you people on it, and judging and punishing you for all the wickedness you've been committing. Verse 3, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, some of the end time signs to know that we're living in the last days, really the last seconds of the last days, before Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called Jesus Christ's second coming, the end of this current age of the rulership of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites, the so-called white people, and the ushering in of the kingdom of heaven, ruled by the children of Israel, who are known today as the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And we can see that these signs are taking place as we speak. Earthquakes happening damn near daily all across the planet, and uproars of the people in the world, which is what I'm going to be going into in this video, with a clip from Wyon's YouTube channel titled "Tracking Protests Against Food Prices, People Take to the Streets Across the Globe, Uproars of the People." And as we'll see in this clip, you've got people all across the planet protesting the surging food prices, and food prices as well as fuel prices are only going to get higher from here on out, and these protests are going to become much more violent, and best believe that they're coming to the United States of America as well. I did a video the other day showing that private banks all across the globe are preparing themselves for civil unrest in the Western world, in the United States, the UK, Europe, etc., due to food shortages and food price upsurges, as well as fuel shortages and fuel price upsurges. And besides the uproars of the people in the world and the earthquakes, the other things that Yahweh Shai HaMashiach told his disciples to look for in Matthew chapter 24 are taking place as well. Wars and rumors of war. The war in Ukraine, rumors of war between China and Taiwan, rumors of war in the Middle East between the state of Israel and Iran, pestilences, the Kragamuffin 1-9, as well as this monkeypox situation, famines, which these food price upticks and food shortages are going to lead to, etc., etc. Verse 4, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Hey, and we're living in the end manifesting itself right before our very eyes. Now let's get into this clip. And real quick, this is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage shown in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. This video is simply for educational purposes.
This report is about an alarming trend: rising food prices from grains to cooking oil, the price of basic staples skyrocketing across the globe. The reason for this is the war in Ukraine and droughts fueled by climate change. For countries, this is an alarming situation. Price hikes are worsening already existing food crisis, fueling protests in several countries across the world. In Argentina, thousands of farmers protested in Buenos Aires. This was against President Alberto Fernandez. His policies to curb inflation have been slammed by the agricultural sector. In the first 4 months of 2022, prices in Argentina rose to 23%. This includes a 6% jump in April. Things got so bad that people took to the streets. It's called Federal March for Work and Salaries. They demanded jobs, security, and a basic living wage.
People protesting against the policies of their government because they see that it's not benefiting them, which is also a part of biblical prophecy. This is 2 Esdras chapter 15, verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men. And that word sedition means conduct or speech inciting open rebellion against a ruling authority or monarch and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. And your modern day kings and princes are these people in the government: mayors, senators, governors, presidents, prime ministers, etc., etc. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And as we see in Argentina, people are not regarding their kings nor princes or their policies that they're putting in place. They're taken to the streets in a seditious spirit to protest against it. And like I said at the beginning of the video, these protests and uproars of the people are going to get much more violent as we get closer and closer to Yahushua HaMashiach's second coming and all hell truly breaking loose.
Una familia tipo que se conforma por 5 personas.
A typical family made up of 5 people must spend around 80,000 pesos to survive. We see that Argentines do not earn that much money, they earn much less. So we are at a time in which the population is living below the poverty line, and many residents in Buenos Aires and the rest of the provinces are poor. This national march is to speak out on this.
Son pobres, entonces bueno, esta marcha federal un poco viene a mostrar esto.
Not just in Argentina, people took to the streets all across Latin America. Protests continued in Chile, Uruguay, Venezuela, Colombia, as people slammed the rising cost of living.
In some places, the protests are more peaceful, and in other places, they're more violent.
In Greece, thousands took to the streets. Their complaints sing. A surge in energy and food prices. Greece's annual consumer inflation accelerated to 8.9% in March, hitting its highest level in over 27 years.
The wages are meager in comparison to the rising prices at the current time. The people are exhausted. There is a serious problem here, and this crisis is bringing Greek society to its knees.
In West Asia too, the situation is no different. Prices of some essentials have shot up by as much as 300%. The surge has triggered widespread unrest. Earlier this month, Iran slashed subsidies on basic food items. New prices of wheat and flour were announced. This is how people reacted to this. These protesters, they're chanting death to Raisi. It got so bad that the president himself issued a response. He refused to restore the subsidies, saying that he won't shy away from making hard choices.
For there shall be sedition among men. Sedition being conduct or speech inciting open rebellion against a ruling authority or monarch, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes.
In Sudan, protests escalated into violence. A protester was shot and killed in the Sudanese city of Madani as demonstrators marched across the country to protest a military coup. Sudan's currency has lost more than a third of its value since the coup, rapidly driving up prices of food, fuel, other goods. Global food prices started to rise in mid-2020. This was when businesses shut down due to the pandemic. Since then, there have been problems with key crops in many parts of the world.
From Argentina to Chile, Greece, Iran, Sudan, we're seeing uproars of the people all across the planet. And just like I said, the Western world isn't exempt. They're going to come here as well as the food shortages, fuel shortages, and the uptick in food prices and fuel prices, which we're seeing. And it's going to get so bad out here to where people are going to start breaking into each other's houses and killing each other to get their hands on whatever food that they can. Back in 2 Esdras chapter 15, verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. And the modern day sword, especially in the United States of America, is the gun. But people are going to be using a whole host of weapons out here. Bats, knives, machetes, chains, hammers, Molotov cocktails, etc., and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, food shortages, famines, and for great tribulation, all the other calamities that Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai is bringing to you people to judge and punish you for your wickedness. So that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong, as we can clearly see we're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.